Hi guys, it's David from the DPAF. It's Friday, March 1st, 2024, and I wanted to just start off by discussing distressed assets and how to benefit from the current market downturn. I've talked quite a lot about, economic contraction and, debt and a reduction in living standards. And these are sort of negative things. But if you're a savvy investor and a shrewd, forward-looking person, you can really benefit from these moments. And I'm not looking for people to, have a mindset of exploiting other people. I'm not here to give financial advice. But what I can offer is great insights in how to benefit, firstly, in terms of wealth preservation, and secondly, in terms of investment at low points of the market. A great key of investment is sort of buying low and selling high. And we have lived through this sort of 40-year period of economic growth fueled by borrowing, fueled by debt, fueled by benefiting today and deferring the costs to tomorrow. And what it's led to, and I was talking about this the other day, it's led to a situation where we do not understand value for money very well because we do not place the right emphasis on costs. Whenever you talk to someone about payment or costs or price or expenses, they always give you a really vague response about, hey, you can borrow this, or hey, you can lease this, or hey, you can defer payments, or hey, you can buy now, pay later. And what we're not doing is really understanding the benefit and the cost at the same time. We're sort of really focusing on benefits. Costs are something that are sort of pushed into the future or pushed onto someone else or whatever. And we're going back to a time where we're going to really understand costs and benefits very, very equally. And we're going to be having to pay real money for real goods, and it's going to come to a shock to a lot of people. It's going to cause great economic contraction, great price contraction in a lot of things, great deflation in assets, and all these sort of asset bubbles that have matriculated upwards that are going to come crashing down. And that's the opportunity I want to talk about. Back in the 2008 financial crisis, I was out in California working for a couple of really, really shrewd people. They were real estate developers and investors, and most importantly of all, they really understood market cycles. They knew when to get in and they knew when to get out, and they really understood price and value in terms of where we were in the market cycle. And I think these great lessons have stuck with me, and I'm implementing them now going into this economic downturn. And the keys are really to sort of go against the crowd. Sometimes that's difficult for people to do. You've kind of got to be selling when everyone's doing their frenetic buying, and then you got to be brave enough to buy when no one's buying and when everyone's telling you you're a crazy person. And if you can go against the herd, if you can go against these sort of social pressures, you can really do very, very well financially. Another key is to really understand values relative to inflation. People say, well, prices are going up, inflation's going up also, sometimes to a greater amount. Debt is also going up as well. So people say, hey, they ignore the inflation, they ignore the debt, they just look at the price appreciation, but it all comes down to purchasing power at the end of the day. How much can you buy with that pound in your pocket? How much can you buy with, selling one asset? How many smaller assets or goods can you buy with the total cost of the assets? And these ratios between your house and, let's say, a bottle of milk. How many bottles of milk can you buy for the price of your house today? How many could you buy yesterday? How many can you buy tomorrow? And that's how you can really measure wealth accumulation, because you'll be able to purchase more and more stuff with the wealth that you have. But how your current wealth is measured is kind of all over the place with inflation and with debt and, currency cycles and all this sort of stuff. So it's very complicated. But, if you could just look at things in an impartial, shrewd way, I think you do really, really well. So I want to do more discussion about, how to benefit from market downturns. I grew up in a family where market downturn was seen as a really bad thing. And, as I've gotten older, I've really kind of seen it can be a bad thing. but it can also be a good thing for people who are well positioned. And, that's what I want to be. That's what I want you to be as well. And it's just a case of having the right mindset. I've been talking a little bit also about the wasting of money. We've all done it. I've been there, you've been there. And I don't want you to worry about the wasting of money in the past. The key needs to be two things. One is to learn from the wasting of money that we've done in the past and put steps in place to prevent it in the future, but also to understand that so many other people in society waste so much more money than us, and they get carried away in these sort of economic manias of buying and indulging on designer clothes and designer cars and jet set holidays, just indulging all over the place, consuming lots of leisure and sport and entertainment. And, there's nothing wrong with some of that in moderation, but it's when it becomes out of control and almost like an addiction and, promoting your image, keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up with the neighbors. It's total waste. It's highly, highly destructive to people and families and, life success, I would say, overall. So be really, really careful about waste of money and these sort of indulgences that society is encouraged to do because it keeps economic growth ticking along, but it is bad for our overall wealth position and bad for our investment posture going into this downturn. We want to have money available to invest at the bottom of the market. We don't need to be blowing it all on indulgences that, provide a very, very short-term high, but long-term pain. So watch out for other people wasting money. I think you can build huge businesses just off the waste that other people have made. For example, people go out and buy, huge stock and inventory that when the market turns, they can't sell. People just buy lots and lots of, goods that are trendy and fashionable at a particular moment. But then when the fashion and trend changes, price drops dramatically, and then you can kind of come in and pick up these same items, same goods. They may be less fashionable now, but if they have a great practical purpose, that is going to be really useful, and you can pick up much better value. So be on the lookout for that. I want to warn people about fraud and being the victim of fraud. There's going to be lots and lots of scams in the economy, in just daily life, as people get shorter and shorter of money and they try to cover up previous outlandish spending, and they try to, they've got debt issues. They've got shortages in their life and they get more and more desperate. They turn to crime, they turn to scamming other people, particularly, people in society like the elderly that, are largely genteel, friendly, polite people in Britain. And, I want you to be on the lookout yourself for scams. Be on the lookout to look after your elderly relatives and all the rest of your relatives and friends that, may be getting exploited. This scam phenomenon is going to grow. Sometimes it can be very subtle. With technology, there's lots of scope for scamming people, and that's something I'm totally against. And I want you to be on the lookout for in your own life, and with your close friends and relatives as well. There's a lot of news articles going around. You've probably seen them. All this war stuff with Ukraine, I think, is total nonsense. And something that's never talked about with Ukraine is the fact that they are not a NATO country. They probably get treated better than any NATO country has ever been treated by NATO countries, despite the fact that they are not a NATO country. And yet no one in the British government ever talks about this. No one in the media ever talks about this. If you're not a NATO country, surely you shouldn't be treated better than if you are a NATO country by NATO countries under the proviso of, we've all got to stick together under NATO and all this nonsense. So a lot of nonsense with the war in Ukraine. There's a lot of people benefiting financially in the defense industry and in the political industry. People who have been bought and paid for, people who are totally corrupt, that operate at the top of the British government. They want to talk up a war that, they don't care about in the practical sense, but what they do very much care about in their own financial sense because they're profiting from it today. So it's also a big cover for the economic downturn that's coming, just like the lockdown was. And again, I'm totally against it, if anyone was wondering. So I want to also look out for people. Final point today, layoffs. There's a lot of talk about layoffs. I hope this isn't happening to you, but it may happen to you, and also may happen to your spouse, may happen to your adult children or your parents or whatever. Be very, very wary and have contingency plans about this. Look out for people leaving your industry. Look out for or expect financial shortages to come in terms of income in your conventional employment. Keep a very eagle eye out for new employment opportunities, new job opportunities, and we want to look at redundancy as a new opportunity as well for a new career and a new business life, rather than a sort of a negative. It has like a lot of negative connotations, just like economic downturns have. But I want to really encourage people to turn these negative perceptions into positive perceptions, have a positive mental attitude, and really thrive in the face of redundancy by looking ahead at the problems rather than looking here and now, looking at redundancy that might happen today, the axe might fall, or it happened yesterday, or it happened last week. Let's have a really positive, open mind. There's lots of changes happening in society, both economic and social, and there's lots of great opportunities that are going to arise as a result. I am big on investing abroad, living abroad, traveling abroad, and bringing opportunities of foreign living back to British people, so you can live a British life abroad. I've been doing some videos this week around Georgia, where I'm currently based, and I want to encourage people, if you are interested, to visit Georgia, relocate to Georgia, invest in Georgia, get in touch with me. I am operating in a few other countries as well, but Georgia is my primary base, and it's a great opportunity to relocate and save and build wealth outside of Britain, so that you can thrive financially going forward. And I think that's a great thing. So I want to thank everyone for watching these videos. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Share these with your friends and family, and really want to build a great network of like-minded people in Britain that are dissatisfied about how things are being run, politically, financially, and economically, and we can get the right change moving in the right direction, both for ourselves and our families and for the wider society. So thanks very much, and have a great day.